Welcome back to Facts and Fictions, the Cozy Book Club podcast where we talk about the books we're reading and the thoughts we're having on them. My name's Morgan.
My name's Desiree, and today we're discussing Half His Age by Jennette McCurdy. This is Jennette McCurdy's debut novel following her best-selling memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Died. So she obviously does not care about making people comfortable. I think it's her intention to provoke discomfort. And we can do that going into this read. And Morgan, what was your overall...
I came to the conclusion I am deeply uncomfortable being uncomfortable. And this book made me way more uncomfortable than I'm Glad My Mom Died.
Yes, I agree on that.
I did not enjoy a single bit of it. And that's not to say it was a bad book. It was just not an enjoyable read for me. It was like pulling teeth. I think she's a very talented writer.
The writing is really good, but it was a tough one. The novel centers around Waldo, a 17-year-old who's living in Alaska, who has an absent mom. Waldo has a shopping problem that she cannot afford, and she desperately wants to be seen. And one of the things she does to be seen is initiates relationship, I suppose, with her 40-year-old creative writing teacher, Mr. Corgi. I don't even like to watch teenage TV shows with teenage romances. So reading a book centered around a 17-year-old girl and her creative writing teacher having a very graphic relationship that should not be happening was deeply uncomfortable. Jennette McCurdy definitely made you sit in the feelings of being uncomfortable. And again, we know that was her intention, but
it's a hard read. And so what I was thinking while I was reading it is like, it feels gratuitous, but she did it by design. It's supposed to feel gratuitous as far as sex scenes go. Even though I knew that was her intention and she wanted everyone to be uncomfortable, it didn't make me like it anymore. I think she's very smart and she did exactly what she was trying to do. Mm-hmm. So I can respect her as an author while also saying the book was not my cup of tea.
One big thing that I found really interesting about the book itself is it's been said that this book heavily pulls from her real life. Yeah. So what do you think, and I don't know if she's commented on this at all, but it was interesting to me that she decided to go the fictional story route rather than another memoir based around that story.
I was wondering if she would end up ever doing a memoir, maybe when she's like farther removed from the situation. I think just like on the spot right now, she wrote her first memoir, after her mom died. So she felt very comfortable laying it out on the table. Maybe she needs to wait until whoever was her abuser, I don't know, maybe she's afraid to publish the 100% true story of what happened until
that's a very good point.
I feel like that's how I would feel.
I definitely can see where this is so well done because she's pulling from real life experience.
Mm-hmm, definitely. I think one thing she did really well was frame it as coming from Waldo's perspective. She did not feel like a victim. And I think that's what a lot of times, like these teenagers, that's the case. Yes, they are victims, but in their heads, they're not. And I think that's part of what made it so uncomfortable too. Mm-hmm. I want to feel like bad for her, but getting her perspective is like she's getting what she wants.
Absolutely.
My heart breaks for her. That's what she wants.
Mm-hmm. But how did you feel about, I feel like this is a type of character that we have encountered multiple times and we have similar reactions to this type of character every time, but what were your thoughts on her absent mother?
Oh my gosh. Like, I always see those stories and her life could be so different if her mom was who she needed her mom to be. We have read a lot of books with not great moms. And it just, every time, man, this story would be unfolding so differently if the mom would step up and be a mom.
And it broke me, the part where she comes home and the mom's home and the apartment is pristine and things are not how they normally are. Mm-hmm. It's Waldo's taken off guard because, the home's clean, mom's in a good mood. What's going on? And her mom tells her about how now she's realized that she has problems with attaching to men, and forget the verbiage that she used, but she's realized this and that she is committed to going down a different path and being independent and whatever. And Waldo ends up going to the airport with Mr. Corgi. And that's a part of her decision making, that her mom has finally turned the corner, that she's going to be there for her. And then, spoiler alert, which we always have spoilers, but very quickly her mom does not follow through with all of those intentions.
That made me so happy at first to read, where I'm like, oh my gosh, like, she's waking up. She's going to be who she needs to be, which I always know that's not going to last when you're reading a book.
It's
but
so sad, though.
it is sad.
We're so close.
The older I get, I just feel so sad for so many people I knew when I was a teenager. Like, people that I judged and like, why are they making these decisions? And I'm like, came down to the parents. And I can see that now that I'm 30, that I couldn't see it when I was 16 or 17. Parents have a good way of screwing their kids up, fortunately.
Right. Mr. Corgi. What is there to be said about Mr. Corgi?
Nothing nice. I hated how the beginning, it seemed like such just, when he was acting like he wasn't into it and wasn't going to do anything.
And then she danced on him in where's the throw up bucket?
Branded.
Did not enjoy any bit of that. Mr. Corgi was exceptionally dumb, exceptionally directionless, and was so manipulative. But in his mind, he was doing everything he could to push this girl away, the seductress.
Little child.
And it's like, no.
Absolutely
disgusting.
Not. And I hate how prevalent, too, all of a sudden in the media, student-teacher relationships, there were a few when we were in high school.
Gosh, that has me thinking now about the sister of the influencer. I don't even know if I want to say the name. Yeah. It's just like...
I've been deep down that rabbit hole.
I've seen so much on that, and the messages... I felt sick.
I know.
So disgusting. We can't even get into this because it's just... But there has to be a red line that you cannot be friends with children. You cannot go. She was out at a late night party with students. Unacceptable. Get back to when it was awkward to see your teacher at the store. Yeah. Oh, Mrs. Smith, I thought you lived at the school.
Exactly.
That's how little the kids need to know about you.
Makes me think back when I did the cross country, we had an incredible coach. And during regional, sectional, state, we were staying in a hotel. So he wanted us to have his number. At the end, on the bus ride home, he would take our phones and delete his number from our phones.
Yes.
It's like, you're not allowed to have this past the weekend that you're in my responsibility.
Wow.
That's what teachers need to be doing.
Very strict.
Yeah.
We need to be strict.
The boundaries have to be so firm. And I think back to my high school experience, and I'm like, there are teachers that I don't think they were inappropriate with it, but I'm like, they were a little too friendly. I feel like that creates can change brain chemistry of a student, where it's okay to have this level of friendship with the teacher.
And adults in general.
When I was 18 or 19, this is a little different because I was still a teenager, but having a friendship with a kid, I started a blog when I was in college, and there was a little girl in our area who wanted to be my friend because she wanted to have a blog too. And so she was emailing me, and she got weird and then weirdly obsessive with me and reliant on me responding. And I think I was feeling this emotional thing. I ended up ghosting her, which sometimes I still feel bad about. But I thought in my head, I was like, oh, this is fine. I'm a mentor. And she started creating this weird Instagram accounts and role playing as me and other YouTube girls. It was weird. I should check on her. See what she's doing.
You never want to feed into that.
He was taking my photos and making Instagram accounts.
Can you check on her after the episode?
But just as an adult, also to say, creating relationships with kids, if they are not family or your friends' kids, it's just not good.
And it's everyone's responsibility. If you're watching something that feels uncomfy, a relationship between an adult and a child, and you see it just doesn't feel right, I just feel like everyone needs to speak up, because to me, reading about this specific situation with the influencer's sister and kid, it's seeming like there were a lot of spectators who did and said nothing, and that's just unacceptable and very sickening.
Not talking about crossing, how she used to cross the line to where it's predatory. She didn't think it actually had gone that far, but she knew it was inappropriate. The whole football team seemed to know, and adults.
There were adults that
people are saying his parents knew, and they thought it was just oh, look at our little heartthrob.
I was speaking with someone about this. I forget who, but how I think it was a coworker, because they live in a very small town, and how back in the day, they're older, and back in the day that it was so common for a girl who graduated high school, there always was one who ended up marrying one of the teachers. It was very normal. And as long as they graduated, it's all kosher. And it's but what about the grooming that occurred before the graduating?
Do you know what I was remembering? Our middle school gym teacher, I forget his name, but the young one, there were a few girls in my gym class who would ask to see his abs every day, and he would show us. Isn't that creepy?
That's
Because we
creepy.
were 12.
Stop. Why is it always the teachers in the school who have in their mind not lived up to their potential, their big dreams and they want to live those dreams out in the way that they can? It's always those ones who it ends up being, because that's exactly how Mr. Corgi was, is he hadn't lived up to his dreams of being a writer. And the way he talked about his marriage and everything, it's just, he was disappointed in himself ultimately. And that's no excuse for bad behavior.
Exactly. That's an excuse to go to therapy and work through your problems. You don't need to find that therapy in a teenage girl.
You should not be finding friendship or companionship or fame or anything of that nature from children.
People are so disturbing. And
Fakey.
I don't know if it's true, but I just feel like we're hearing more and more stories of teacher-student relationships in the last few years. Which obviously we've got 2 examples from when we were young.
But I wonder, well, maybe we'll need to look up the data. Are we hearing about it more because it's being cracked down on more, which that would be a positive thing? Or are we hearing about it more because it's occurring more? That would be my question.
That's true. I feel like it's definitely probably more cracked down on, less swept under the rug.
And with social media, someone brings a story like that to social media, I feel like typically that's going to garner a lot of attention. So maybe that's why we feel like we're seeing what's happening more, because it's on our feeds. And I knew that this episode would go down this rabbit hole naturally because of the subject matter, but I hate it. I hate it so much.
It's like one of those things that makes me so afraid to ever have kids too. Teachers are the people who are supposed to be the leaders, mentors, and shaping them into good adults. And it's like, look at how often they're abusing them.
One thing I wanted to note about the book, or talk about, is the consumerism aspect of the book, because I found that to be super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think something that is happening on a huge scale. I feel like with young women, consumerism is one of the top problems that they're dealing with. And then for young men, it's gambling of the money. So like 2 money problems, women, I think, is the consumerism, overbuying stuff. And then for boys, it's being introduced to gambling at such a young age, it being really normalized. But Waldo, she doesn't have a lot of money. She barely has any money, in fact, and she's working hard for her money. And yet she's constantly purchasing items, typically like clothing, from bulk amounts of clothing. Does she really need it? No, definitely not. So what were your takeaways from that when you were reading it? What feelings did you have?
I wasn't able to relate on a strong level, but in a way, I remember every time I used to have to go to New York a few times a year for work. And it was a very overwhelming emotionally trip for me because it was just like very stressful and loud. And anyhow, on that trip, I always put in a big Forever 21 order to come home to, which that's like the only like able to draw. But I would spend $200, $300 and be like, this is my reward for getting through this. So I definitely used like as a Band-Aid for like feelings, but not
To that extent.
That seems so stressful to me. I've been like last year in like a purge phase of my life. I kind of get rid of everything I own. But
I feel worried about young people because I feel like we experienced it too, but just not on this level, but of seeing mass amounts of things being purchased by people online.
Yeah.
Because I feel like haul culture, yep, was a huge thing when we were growing up on YouTube and whatever. But now it's made its way to TikTok, doing the hauls and normalizing like buying 5 purses on one shopping trip, and order with $300 order with like 20 items from Shein, or just that sort of content. There's so much of it. It just feels really normal.
Yeah.
I think I'm shop online, but I'm much more intentional about what I'm buying. I'm looking for like good quality materials and stuff like that. I have a rule in my house: if I buy something, it has to have a place. I think that helps, because in my mind when I'm shopping, I'm like, okay, but where's this going to live?
Yeah.
Hoarding life really scares me.
Oh, yeah.
I think people are going to have a lot of hoarder homes out in the ether.
Yeah. When I was younger, I knew somebody who was like a legitimate shopping addict, and there's like their entire second floor of their house because there was like things on either side. It's just like the thrill of buying.
Yeah, I think to get away from that, like, have to understand the good feeling you have when your home is not filled, but your home, you've accumulated things that you needed and that have true purpose.
I still think that's like 2020, like Marie Kondo, like the sparking joy. Like I love, especially right now, my living room. Everything in my living room sparks joy.
Yeah.
There's a single thing in there that does not spark joy for me.
Yes. I think something I'm always yearning for and working hard towards, but really being intentional about the things you bring into your home. A way to move away from consumerism.
I feel the same way, and it's like the way I buy gifts too. That's made like shopping very difficult for me.
Yes.
So I'm like trying to find things that people can use, like be finished. They don't have to like burden with this item for the rest of their life.
Not a huge nickname for people. Makes it much harder because you're spending that time trying to figure out what would truly benefit them. But it makes you a good gift giver. Yeah. Like people really take notice when someone gives them a gift that is intentional in that way.
One thing to know is like the first half of the book, it's framed as like what Waldo wants. She's getting what she wants with this relationship with Mr. Corgi, and she's like cloud nine about it. But it slowly starts to shift. Because at the end of the day, Mr. Corgi's a loser. Like no other way to go around it. He's like a loser, and she only thinks he's cool because she's 17. But every loser like gets exposed eventually, and she starts to see him for who he is. And at that point, she's kind of like deep into the relationship. That made me almost feel like panicky reading it.
Absolutely.
And it's like, I was putting myself in her shoes when I was a teenage girl. It's like he's given up so much of his life, like for like his like creepy little knight in shining armor. I wouldn't have had the guts to end things at that point, even if I wasn't happy.
Especially as a 17-year-old.
Like a little girl.
Yeah.
The older I get too, I remember at 17, I felt like a woman. Like at 17, I was a baby.
Yeah. There's a line from this song by Zara Larsson, and it says, "I'm no longer young enough to know everything."
Yeah.
And that's one that comes to mind a lot because you feel like you know everything. And that guides your actions and decisions. And Waldo is operating from she knows what she wants and she knows who this man is.
She slowly wakes up to
she
the
does
reality.
And I was honestly, it's impressive actually. I feel like one thing about Waldo, she was very in tune with herself and she was able to come out of it.
Yeah. For 17, I think she turned 18 in the book, right?
Yeah.
An 18-year-old girl, like that is impressive.
Especially considering she didn't have someone showing her how to do that.
Yeah, she had the guiding light.
Yeah. Actually had like the opposite of that. Whatever that is.
I feel like Franny was like the flickering light. Her best friend was like, I had mixed feelings about Franny.
Yeah.
I think overall she had
a good heart.
Colored by Mormonism, though.
Right. And yeah, probably had to get out of her own bad situation.
Yeah.
In a different way.
That's, I think, for being a teenage girl brought up in a very peculiar religion. She was like the best she could be.
Did Franny, what was Franny's end story? Did we get?
She got engaged to the guy who's going to go on his mission, I think.
Okay. I remember if we got any follow-up, like, if she like heads or anything like that right away. Because I was like, well, what's worse? Going through a relationship, realizing you need to get out or whatever, or linking up with an equally as young person.
Yeah. I feel like for Waldo, depending on how her next decade unfolds, this could be like really great character development, something she really learned from and propelled from, and like one of those traumas that builds you. Whereas it's like Franny might just be repeating cycles.
Yes. Like I feel like Franny, we know what happens to Franny, like, and unfortunately sad, but in a different way. Yeah. And Mr. Corgi, also one of the things with the buildup of their relationship was Mr. Corgi was, denying her, pushing her away, which I'm putting air quotes because he really was not, but he was diabolical having her over for dinner with his wife. It
was like dangling in front of her. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah.
And then poor Gwen, like married to a loser, it's probably best that she figured that out eventually, but I heart broke a little bit for her that her life unfolded like the little baby. And then her husband ends up being who he is.
And it does make you wonder, I would love to hear Gwen's side of things, because did Gwen know her husband was a loser, or was she disillusioned and felt he was an amazing creative writing teacher had big aspirations and would one day get, did she believe in him as a person, or did she know to his core that he was a loser? As we talked about on our last week's episode, Overdue for a Chat, the Strangers by Burden, she thought she knew her husband and did not know him at all.
Yeah, so people are just blindsided.
Yes. Interested to know, did Gwen have a feeling about this, or was she completely blindsided?
Yeah. Love to know what her 10 years look like. Hopefully she gets on a better track. My heart was breaking for her, but I'm like, it's for the best. Yes. She's this man for forever. The sooner anyone can get away, the better.
Yeah, he did her a favor.
Yeah.
A really horrible way. Affected other people, but
at the end of the day, she's better off. But I'm sure it's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, I'm around my child.
Exactly.
Freak.
Oh my God.
How do you even handle that? And I don't know.
Just every horrible thing I've ever heard or encountered in my life, I feel like this book reminded me of.
And I think that's why before this book even came out officially, there was so much backlash to Jennette McCurdy. People were calling for her to not even release it. The subject matter, etc. Obviously, nothing came of that, but it sparks emotion. It sparks discomfort, and I feel like it left us ultimately. It was not enjoyable to read. It does make you wonder, who is the ideal person to read this book, and what is Jennette hoping that they come away with?
I think the ideal person is girls, younger girls. We already know it's bad. We already know it's disgusting. But spoiler alert for my fan cast, it also made me think of Pretty Little Liars, which that movie really glorified sleeping with your teacher. It was this a sexy thing to do. And I feel like it's a good foil to that a little bit.
Yeah.
I know that there are girls who are their teachers and going to get with him because, like I said, in middle school, we had the girls over our gym teacher's abs. And I think they're the ones who need that wake up call. There is not a normal, good 40-year-old man who's going to want a relationship with a teenage girl. There is not a normal, good 40-year-old man who's going to want a relationship with a teenage girl.
I completely agree. I do wonder, are young girls picking up this book, though?
I kind of actually think the provocative cover would attract a girl who wants to feel rebellious and look at the actual book I'm reading.
You're so right. Because I think back to, I can't remember the name of the book. So it was a book series, but it had kind of provocative covers that were so popular back in the day. And probably for that reason. But I think you're on the right track. And I think if that is the intention and that is why Jennette wrote this book, I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
I think that it's so extremely uncomfortable. It shows that not always sunshine and butterflies. Depicts this man. It shows the he's nasty. He's loser. It shows all of those things that you don't want to feel or see when you're in a relationship with someone you shouldn't be.
And I feel like when I started reading it, because you're getting it from Waldo's perspective and she's enjoying this relationship. So at first I'm this book should not exist because I felt like it was glamorizing, romanticizing, making it she got what she wanted. She's leaving with her teacher. But then as the book goes on and Waldo starts to kind of be let in on the secret that this is not a good situation, I'm like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
At first it just seems glorifying the situation a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Because you are getting it from the perspective of the girl who wanted this to happen.
I agree. So I think it succeeds in its purpose, on the right track. And I guess now jumping to the ending, I did appreciate the ending.
Oh, yeah.
Her leaving Mr. Corgi at the airport, going out on her own.
Back to what her mom told her, early on. And I was seeing people talk about that, whereas broken clock is right once a day. Never get on a plane for a man.
Yeah.
That one piece of advice from her mom was one that stuck.
Yeah. Yes. I feel like you've understand we feel about the book by now. So we are interested to hear how other people felt about it and if it was in line with our feelings or if you had a unique perspective. Yeah, and as far as rating the book, I think I rated it a 3.
Yeah, I had 2.5, which is my lowest rating I've ever done on the podcast. Conflicted feelings.
Yeah.
Just didn't enjoy it. I also didn't enjoy the audiobook, and I loved the audiobook of I'm Glad My Mom's Dead. But Jennette did both of them herself. And I don't know. I didn't love it for them.
Yeah. We'll end the episode with the fan cast. Does that sound good to you?
Perfect.
Okay. Waldo, who'd you pick?
I picked McKenna Grace. I couldn't remember if there were any physical descriptors. I just skipped.
Yeah. I picked Kaylee Spaney, which she's a young actress. She was in Priscilla recently. Okay. So I thought she'd be a really good Waldo. Mr. Corgi.
I had Ian Harding, which I do think he's too much of a cutie, but it was a big typecast.
Yeah.
A good predatory teacher.
Yeah. Did Matthew Good. Thought he was like charming, but like slightly disheveled. I don't know.
Yeah.
Corgi's wife.
Emily Blunt. I like her.
Yeah. Did Jodie Comer. Waldo's mom.
Emma Stone. I figured she'd do like a good like Psalm type, disheveled. Mm-hmm. I also really like her.
I did Michelle Monaghan because she is like, I feel like such a warm person, but also could be like disheveled mess. So yeah, we just did a few of the main characters. Yeah. We'll not be rereading this one.
I don't think so. Comes to movie, I'm not watching it.
Yeah. Gosh, please.
I've slammed the book shut on this book.
No.
I do think there is like the right audience for it, just not us.
Yeah. In general, we do not like to read teenage focused books.
Yeah.
Consume teenage focused content in general. I think we're past that.
We're too old.
Yeah. I was going to say too old, and then I was like, well,
we're well seasoned.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's that. Stay tuned next week. We will have a Brief Encounters episode. So again, those are our short form writing episodes. So we pick like articles that we see online, whether that be from like a major organization or like Substack articles. Totally cool with those too. Just kind of an opportunity for us to talk about writing that isn't in book format. Also, they're super accessible, you guys, because you don't have to read a full book, but you can still tune in. Stay tuned for that. And week after that, we'll have another dedicated book discussion. And yeah, keeping things rolling. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks so much for listening to Facts and Fictions. We really hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you're new here, let us tell you a little bit about what we do. We publish new episodes every Sunday, and we've got 3 kinds of episodes to keep things interesting. First up, we have our book discussions, where we do a deep dive into one specific book. So if you really love digging into a read, those are for you. Then there are our Brief Encounters, where we tackle short form writing. Think magazine articles, Substack essays, things like that. Usually centered around a theme or topic we've been thinking about. Finally, we've got Overdue for a Chat. These are our most laid-back episodes. No reading required, we just hang out and talk about all things books. New releases, book-to-movie adaptation news, what's on our TBR, all of it. So whatever kind of reader you are, there's something here for you. Make sure you hit subscribe or follow so you don't miss a thing. We will see you next Sunday. Until then, happy reading.